Welcome everyone to EIFL's session on creating magical innovation in your libraries with a little help from our peers. We're really excited about being here. We're so grateful for the organizers of this conference that pulled this together in spite of everything that's happening in our world right now. And we're excited about sharing some of what we're doing with you. The keynote speaker this morning gave a great introduction to our session. Dr. Hannah Vogt said, innovation should aim at transforming communities. And we could not agree more at EIFL. We think this is key in terms of what happens in public libraries. But at EIFL, we've also been really interested in what sparks innovation. And that's the question that we want to spend some time exploring with you this morning. Now, just to let you know, you probably all know by now that you should double click on your PowerPoint screen so that you can see it enlarged. But we will also be using a couple of other screens. And so just to keep your attention and make sure that you're paying attention, we'll be telling you when to change and to click on other screens. So let me start off by saying that the EIFL Public Library Innovation Team wants to welcome all of you here. And we want to start off with giving a few introductions. So I'm Susan Schnur, and I'm the Capacity Building Manager for this team.
And I am Ramona Petuchovaite. I am Program Manager for Public Library Innovation Program.
Hello, my name is Ugne Lipeikaite. I'm in charge of impact evaluation, and I also work with a lot of training at EIFL PLIP.
My name is Edvaldas Baltrūnas. I'm Program Coordinator at here EIFL. Also, I do a lot of IT stuff for our organization.
Yes, Edvaldas always makes sure that everything is running smoothly. Thanks, Edvaldas. We're going to give you in a minute a chance to introduce yourselves, but let me explain how we're going to do that. So next slide. We're using a tool that's called the Mentimeter, and we've chosen to call it the magical Mentimeter because you'll be able to see the results in real time on your screens. What we want you to do right now is to take your phone or to take on your computer to add a tab to type this address with the mentimeter.com into your browser. Once you get there, type the code 7075132, the code that you see on your screen. We're going to give you a minute to go ahead and enter into the Mentimeter, but don't answer the first question yet. Wait for us. Okay, next. So we wanted to review with you what we're going to be doing today, remembering that we're focusing on what sparks innovation and also what's of interest to us. What role does peer-to-peer learning have in sparking innovation? So after the introductions, we're going to start off with some magical Mentimeter questions. We're going to talk about innovation and its role in our public libraries. And then you'll hear about some research that EIFL's done on innovation. What have we found? What have we learned? Then how have we used this information? How have we used the research that we found? And to illustrate that, you will have 3 talks from innovators in Africa. Finally, we're going to ask you, our participant, to share what works and what you've done, what's been effective for peer-to-peer learning, and what sparks innovation in your libraries. And that's when we will have you come into our session and talk to us about your stories. And finally, we'll have a closing, a last Mentimeter question. Okay, let's get started. EIFL loves to have interactive sessions, and we really want to hear from you. We know that you can use the chat. We can see that people are in the chat, and we're happy to have you here. Use the session chat, please, for any questions that you have or comments. But we're also going to be using these Mentimeter questions. And then finally, we'll come to a part in the workshop when you'll have a chance to share your thoughts with us. Okay, next. All right, now it is time to answer that question that you see on your magical Mentimeter. For people who are just joining us, we're using this interactive tool as part of our workshop. So please sign up on your phone browser or using your laptop, use this code, and answer the first question, which says, please tell your name, country, and one unique characteristic of your country. And then, to see the magic, click on the Mentimeter screen underneath you. So we can see Lithuania. I know. Earthquakes, oh my goodness. Christelle, it's the Rainbow Nation, South Africa, United States, Romania, Moldova. This is great to see all of you here. In some ways, it's hard because we can't be in the same room, but it's also wonderful to see the richness, the diversity, the reach that this conference is having with all the different countries and people that are represented here. We wish we could speak with you individually, and hopefully we'll get a chance in some of the networking sessions. Okay, next.
Okay, so it's my part of introducing EIFL Public Library Innovation Program, which was launched in 2019 with a grant from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to spark innovation in public libraries in developing and transition economy countries through use of technology that enable librarians to address most critical community needs. We have sparked innovation by giving small grants to test innovative service ideas, apply new technologies, new tools, by supporting libraries in advocacy with governments for better connectivity and support of new services, by building capacity of public librarians to apply technology in library programs and address community needs, by rewarding and recognizing innovative public libraries for services that improve community lives. Over a decade, we have worked with 400 plus public libraries from 34 countries across the 4 continents. Our partner libraries introduced new and improved their services that every day are helping people to use the internet and computers for jobs, to improve their livelihoods, sell farming produce or handicrafts, connect with health specialists, or find reliable health information resources, improve school results, and so on and so on. You can check our work and cases of our partner libraries on our website, which is www.eifl.net, to learn more. Having the task to spark innovation in public libraries in different countries, we of course had to find a definition what service innovation means that would be relevant in different settings and encompass variety of community needs. So here's definition that guiding EIFL PLIP team over the decade of our work. The magic of innovation happens when libraries dare to put into practice something new that has never been done in this place before, using particular approach, technology, platform, or course of action, has never focused on particular target group before, has never been done before in partnership or with particular partners, or in general has never been done properly before because they were lacking some technology knowledge or something. So though innovation is always about creating a new or improved service to the community by using technology and mobilizing library internal and external resources creatively. The success of service depends on whether it was guided by community needs and adapted to local context, integrated in the ongoing library practice and sustained beyond the project life cycle, and also provided solid evidence of impact on community, meaning helped people to achieve their full potential and live better lives. So often we hear that to innovate, library first need to secure additional funds. Our partner libraries' experience, on the contrary, show it starts with deep understanding of community challenges and creative thinking. And then some additional funding might be needed, but quite often the creative out-of-box thinking opens new opportunities. So now let's go to the Menti-Com and think of innovation creatively.
Thank you, Ramune. And we wanted to have a little bit of fun with this time that we have with you. So one of the questions on your magical Mentimeter now is, if innovation was an animal, what animal would it be? Go ahead and put your answers in. For those of you who are just joining us, you can see in the chat room how to log on to the Mentimeter.com, enter a code, introduce yourself, and then answer the question. And meanwhile, click on the Mentimeter screen to see the results that we're getting. Caterpillar, somebody says. Oh, that's interesting. Tell us why. Chameleon. Phoenix. Whoa. Kia. Okapi. You're going to have to explain some of these things in the chat room. How are you coming up with these particular animals and how are they innovative? A chameleon. Yes, I can see that. Changing colors. Dolphin. Yeah, these are great. Puppy. Spider. Oh, interesting. A meerkat. Oh, I love meerkats. It's so fun to feel like we are hearing directly from you with seeing all your answers on the screen. So thank you so much for participating on that. Great. Well, if you like the idea, tell us a little bit more about the animals that you've picked in the chat room. Oh yeah, thanks, Jeff. Phoenix has a story of a bird rising from the ashes and living more years. I like that too. Okay, let's move on to the next screen. Back to the PowerPoint presentation, and Ugne is now going to be on stage.
Thank you, Susan. So now I will speak a little bit about the study. This study we did a couple of years ago, but I think that it is still relevant now and still relevant today, because as you could hear previously from Ramon and from Susan, we are deeply interested on why and how libraries innovate and how can we encourage and how can we sparkle innovation. So a few years ago, we did this study. Ramone, can you switch the next slide, please?
Yes, yes.
Thanks. So this is our scope. We actually surveyed more than 120 people. Most of them were library directors or people in charge of new library services and projects. These were people from community and public libraries. And as you can see on the screen, most of them were from Europe and from Africa. And we had few respondents as well from Asia and from Latin America. We did a survey that was an online survey, but we also wanted to get a little bit more qualitative insights and information. So we also did in-depth interviews with 4 library leaders, so leaders of national public library systems or library associations. And this is what we discovered. So first of all, we wanted to find out, so what motivates public librarians to innovate? And we were so pleased to discover that actually willingness to make library more relevant to their community is the main factor that drives librarians to innovate. This factor was also closely followed by personal satisfaction of being useful to the community. So you can see that two main factors for libraries to innovate are actually related to the community, which is really, really great. And at third place, we find additional funding for library infrastructure advancement. To be honest, I thought this will be a driving factor, but I was not right. So librarians and libraries mainly think about community and how to become more relevant to the community. Next thing that we wanted to find out was what are the who encourage, support innovation in public libraries. And we asked our respondents to rank different for innovation in libraries. And we discovered that library authorities play a key role, and they are followed by NGOs. NGOs are really important because they are usually partners for innovative library projects and library services. Also, local governments are a very important stakeholder, as well as local public institutions, such as schools, hospitals, health offices, and so on. What really interested us with the study was how to encourage librarians to innovate. And we wanted to find out what are main activities that encourage librarians to become more innovative. And here the answer was actually that all magic is in peer-to-peer learning. And it was really important discovery for us. We asked what kind of specific activities librarians want. So we found things like visiting other libraries, attending library conferences and events, trainings and capacity building workshops, and joint projects. So we really understood that peer-to-peer interaction is key in encouraging libraries to innovate. And we even decided to dig a little bit deeper and to understand how to make this peer-to-peer learning effective and how to make sure that really after learning experiences, people get motivated and are empowered to implement innovations in their libraries. So one of our last questions was, so how to make this peer-to-peer learning effective? And this is in the next slide, I will share some of the responses. So when we were looking for answer to this question, we discovered two interesting concepts that actually our respondents see difference between inspiring innovation and disseminating innovation. So for inspiration, they mainly look into international encounters and conferences like the one that we are attending now. And they see these international encounters as the best way to inspire them. And they also want to see examples from really different environments and different countries, including well-developed countries. However, national library conferences and events are seen as the best way to disseminate innovation. So when it comes to the idea of replicating innovative services, national library conferences are really, really important. And some of the factors that we have to pay attention when we organize such national conferences and events is the relevance of examples that are shown and presented, and also adaptability. So, for example, if one project is very sophisticated and has many elements and is quite expensive, so it is really important to show how it could be scaled down and adapted in a smaller library with less resources. And the last thing that we discovered, but it's really a very important finding, is that personal interaction is key. So librarians said that they are only able to implement innovation when they can keep personal contact with colleagues who already implemented similar activity or similar project. So as you will see a little bit later, this study really informed a lot of our activities, and we even designed some of our programs based on these findings. But as it is fun and playful conference, now we will kind of verify with you these findings. And we would like to invite you back to the Mentimeter, where we have some questions where we want to ask you. So what is the most important factor that motivates you to innovate? And please only choose one. You have things like opportunity for library infrastructure advancement. You see personal satisfaction of being useful to the community, additional funding for the library, possibility to increase visibility and possibly change the image of the library. And we can see some votes. Oh, really active voting. We have almost 20 people who already voted. I'll wait a few more seconds. Seems like we're almost there. All right, so as you can see, in our voting here, we have a really tough competition between willingness to make library more relevant to the community, the same as we discovered in our study, and possibility to increase visibility and positively change the image of the library in the community. So these two are key motivating factors for you. And it's quite interesting because possibility to increase visibility did not come up so strongly in our study, but it's also understandable because it is another factor that is linked to the community. I will move on to next question. And I would like to ask you, so could you indicate stakeholders who, based on your experience, have the biggest influence on success of your new services? And you have opportunity to choose two options. We are really curious to see which stakeholders influence your innovative services and innovative projects. We have few votes going to the local governments, local public institutions, local NGOs. Library authorities are also getting some votes. Wow, local public institutions are winning big support, as well as local governments, local NGOs, library authorities, some going to private business and central government. All right, so in this audience, local public institutions such as schools, hospitals, etc., win the biggest support and are considered to be main stakeholder, closely followed by library authorities and local NGOs and local government. So we can move to the next question, and we would like to ask you what peer-to-peer activity encourages you to innovate? And please only choose one. So we have opportunity to visit other libraries, attending training with other librarians. We have joint projects with other libraries. All right, we have attending library conferences and events. I hope this one will get some votes because we are in a conference like this. Okay.
Don't agitate.
Yeah, well, it's not very scientific. It's not very scientific research, so that's okay. It's okay to agitate a little bit. All right. So we have who wins? Joint projects with other libraries. Yeah. It seems like for this audience, doing joint projects with other libraries is the main activity that encourages them to innovate, very closely followed by attending library conferences and events. We also have few votes for attending training with other librarians and opportunity to visit other libraries. And I have a last question from my side. And I would like to ask, what, in your opinion, makes peer-to-peer learning effective? What needs to happen so that this peer-to-peer interaction is effective and encourages innovation? Maybe for this one, you will have to think a few minutes before you provide answer. A good relationship, definitely. Communication skills, spontaneity, differences. Wow, I love this answer. Authenticity in communication and values, interaction, yeah, to make it interactive. Seeing real life examples, empathy. Providing enough time to interact with peers. This is definitely an important one. Not only share best practices, but also challenges and failures. Openness, open communication, willingness to share. Great answers, great ideas. And you can see that many of you also choose factors related to personal interaction. So it's really, really important. All right, I will stop here because we will be digging deeper into this question, and we will be asking further what makes peer-to-peer learning effective. So I give backstage to Susan to introduce.
We're very excited about this next section of our presentation. And one thing you need to know about the EIFL team is that while we like research, we are much more of an action team. So as soon as the research was done, the question is, what do we do with that research? How do we implement that? How do we spark innovation? How can we design programs that allow that to happen? So out of that process came the Initiative for Young African Innovators called IALI. And this exposes emerging innovators to experiences with their peers in other countries via conferences, via workshops, via training, via library visits. You can see there the direct application from learning from what the research has taught us. And so today we are thrilled to introduce 3 speakers who are all graduates of this IALI program. To bypass any potential technical difficulties, we have recorded their speeches, but they will then join us live to answer questions. First, we want you to listen. We've recorded their talks, and we want you to listen to the 3 talks in a row, and then we will take questions at the end of the 3 talks. But please, in the meantime, start typing your questions in the chat room. We will monitor that and bring them back up again when it's time for the live question and answer session. And our first speaker today is Letta Chivute from Namibia. Letta is going to discuss a program for school-aged children who live in an informal settlement close to her library, and how she uses YouTube, or is going to use YouTube for this work. Letta. You can double click on the video screen.
There is no sound at Valdez.
You cannot hear anything?
No.
That's nice. Let's start again. Some technical difficulties as usual.
So Claudia says in the chat, before sharing the Chrome tab, click also on share audio. It worked when we tested.
Yeah, it worked. So you are not hearing anything, right? Okay, let me try another way. Let's see if it works. The intended audience for these programs. Can you hear? Good day, everyone.
Yes.
Yes.
But probably a lot of noise.
I work for Marintal Community Library in Marintal, South Central of Namibia. The program that I plan to establish, plan because the intended audience for these programs are actually grade 3 to 6, and learners up until now, since March, they have stopped because of the pandemic, and we're expecting them to start on the 21st of September 2020. What motivated us to come up with such a program is because we were approached by the language teachers of 2 schools, of the schools in the informal settlement of Marintal, where the teachers actually explained to us as librarians that it's as if they are running out of creative ideas on how to teach the learners the English language. And it's as if there is no one that he can look up to or how or know how or what is happening outside Marintal. It's like they are only used to what they know. And it's simply because these learners, they are from unfortunate backgrounds where they don't even have TV at home. They don't have the basic things that a child, for example, must have to explore or to learn outside the school. Now, what we did, we went back to the schools, and then we decided we're going to talk to these teachers for them to just give us a clear picture on what they want us to implement. So the plan is as follows. We have come up with a program on how we're going to implement this program, where we'll be actually doing an educational program where we'll have fun with these learners. Now, what we mean by fun is doing the basic things, for example, how to read the language, how to write the language, and how to speak the language, how to pronounce words, how to name, for example, what is a car, or this is a basin, or this is a caterpillar, or whatever we will really, really find. And the other thing that we also thought of was to also bring in, for example, the concept of design thinking, giving them time to think, to design, and to look at things with a fresh mind, as well as to explore the global world outside Marintal with the Volknet. I'm sure there are those that don't even have a clue that there are countries like, for example, Portugal exists. And we hope that this program, and we are planning that it runs for between 8 to 9 months, for us to see whether will improve or will change something within these learners. Me, being part of EIFL 2020, what I'm planning to do, I'm actually planning to create a YouTube channel where I'm going to document everything that we're going to do within this program. And the reason behind this is because we as librarians, we do exciting programs. We do programs within our libraries, but sometimes we do not document them. It's as if we don't even know, people do not know, or the world does not know that we are busy doing exciting programs or changing lives. So what I'm going to do, I'll create a YouTube channel where I want to monitor everything that I'm going to do. And this will help us as a library and as a librarian individually to see whether can I change something or should I improve somewhere within this program that we are going to do. So we are really excited about it, and together with our superiors, we hope that the support that they have gave us so far, we are happy that, you know, everything will work out as planned. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Leta. And she will be joining us live at the end of the 3 speeches to answer questions. Our next speaker is Koi Kazungu from Kenya. And Koi is going to discuss how a book donation program became a catalyst for important library partnerships.
Just a quick question. Did you hear Leta well, or was there a lot of background noise when you were listening to her?
It was fine.
It was
It
fine.
was fine. Okay, good. In that case, I will proceed with Koi.
Hi, I'm Koi Kazungu, Head Librarian for a Community Library under the Kenya National Library Services. I want to share some experience on how I solved a problem for my community. I was recently transferred to a new library which did not have enough information materials. But I also realized that the community members did not know alternative sources for searching for information. So what I did, I asked them to write down the titles and authors of the books they wanted. Secondly, I picked up the data and presented it to 2 potential donors, Costa Kenya and Kenya Commercial Bank. While I was still waiting for their feedback, I thought of borrowing some e-readers from a sister library, just to show my users on how else we can get some information apart from the physical books. 2 weeks later, I received a call from Costa Kenya saying they had reserved some funds to buy the books. We agreed for a date for them to come and deliver the books to the library. But before the date came, I thought of inviting or involving the local leaders. While we were receiving the books, I introduced them to e-platforms. First, I introduced them to e-government services, that's e-citizen for Kenya, where they could get a number of services online. For example, renewing of business permits, driving licenses, applying for passports, and many more services. But I also thought I should market the library because it was new in the community. I did 2 radio presentations or talk shows, just to explain to the public the relevance of the library to them. 1 week later, after the presentations, I received a call from the Member of Parliament saying the online platform was very key to him and he had secured 13 laptops to boost the program. Now, all these ideas and campaigns resulted in the following impacts. I received or I increased my stock worth 50,000 Kenya shillings. But secondly, I increased my scope for searching for information through the laptops. Now, all these ideas were inspired by EIFL under the Public Library Innovation Program, who identified young African librarians for exposure to the outside world, to learn how other libraries out there were solving problems innovatively to their communities. I want to say this. EIFL is very passionate about young African librarians who are passionate about library services for purposes of bringing change to their communities for transformation of lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koi. And we look forward to hearing more from you at the conclusion of our next speech. Our third speaker is Alan Paguele from Zambia. And Alan will be talking about an exciting library initiative for youth called Creatives for Change.
Hi everyone, my name is Alan Paguele. I'm a provincial librarian based at Choma Provincial Library in Southern Province of Zambia. Today I want to talk to you about a project that we are implementing in the area of creative arts. The name of the project is Creatives for Change. It is our considered view as a public library that we must respond to the needs of the community that we are serving. And during one of our analyses as a library, we discovered that there was need for us to provide a co-working space for young people. This was coming through the interaction that we had with the users, especially the young people interested in creative arts, that actually needed to provide a space for them where we interact as young people, share ideas, brainstorm on certain projects that we are actually doing. In order to concretize this, we had to conduct a survey that gave us more details about what was actually lacking in this area. And our findings pointed to the fact that there was need for us to have co-working space for the young people. There was also need for us to once in a while provide a platform where a trainer would be invited to conduct a training in the area of creative arts. There was also a need in the area of the lack of basic equipment to support creative arts among the young people who could not afford to buy their own equipment. So as a library, we had actually participated in a number of trainings organized by our National Library Association in partnership with Electronic Information for Libraries, that is EIFL. After we did a series of trainings, we were given an opportunity to apply for a matching grant. And because we had identified the need in our library, we took this as an opportunity to apply for support to ensure that the need in the area of creative arts among the young people was actually addressed. So we submitted our application, and fortunately enough, the proposal was actually responded to and supported, and we bought basic equipment in the area of the 4 areas that we are focusing on, which is civic writing, photography, singing, and the 4th one being poetry. So these were the 4 areas that we are focusing on. So after we bought the equipment, we actually conducted the first training, where we invited the trainer to train young people in the area of entrepreneurship, or to look at creative arts as a way of entrepreneurship. After we did the training, we let these young people go out there to work on projects, and of course we are monitoring them through various ways, such as monthly meetings, and we also opened up this space we are calling Creative Dome within our library, where young people can come and meet, sit there and brainstorm. So they were making use of this space within the library to brainstorm and work on projects that they were doing. And we actually ensure that at each end of the month, we could give them an opportunity to share with us what exactly they were doing. And then at the time that we were hit by this pandemic, which is coronavirus, it was very interesting that these young people were, of course, doing their other projects, but they had to tune to what was actually very urgent at the time. They came together and started working on projects, on messages that could be shared to the general public on ways and means that people would prevent themselves from contracting coronaviruses. Then the young people, as I went ahead to translate messages into local languages, they also went ahead and did a song that was actually is still enjoying massive airplay in the local radio stations within our city. These young people are still working together. They are still coming to our space. And from the time we started having this, we started this project, or implementing this project, we have seen the number of users increasing in our library. We have also seen that the library has become attractive to the people, even those that are not interested in creative art will peep in and see what is really happening in the creative space. We have also seen young people coming together and collaborating on a number of projects that they are doing. We have created linkages with partners that have helped us to implement in terms of training. We have kept those linkages to ensure that this project is actually supported to the end. We're looking forward to many more success stories that will come out of this creative space that we have provided for the young people at our library. More details about what is actually cooking at Choma Provincial Library will come out later at the time that we'll be winding up on this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alan. Now I'm going to ask my colleagues Ramune and Ugne to become little ghosts in our session. And I'm going to ask Letta and Koi and Alan to join us. And Alan. We have Letta. And we have Koi. And we'll see if Alan can join us too. Thank you so much for being with us today, Letta and Koi, and hopefully Alan. We're so excited about the work that you're doing in your libraries. And we want to see if any of our participants have questions for you, but we have a couple of questions to start off with. Can you say a few words about who inspired you to innovate? And you might want to, why don't we start with Letta, and Koi, you can mute your microphone. Okay, Letta, who inspired you to innovate?
Good day, everyone. My name is Letta once again. Who inspired me? I think being part of EIFL, visiting United States of America, and witnessing what those libraries or librarians are busy doing, exciting programs and changing lives, it really made me understand that there's more that I can as well do as a librarian in Namibia and in Marienthal, to be specific.
Thank you, Letta. Okay, Koi, what inspired you to innovate?
I'm Koi from Kenya. Well, what inspired me is how I was picked as a young librarian to participate in an international program. That means my organization or my employer had trust in me that I could change my service to my community, that the community would be like having me as a resourceful person. So the innovation and learnings I received from both events in Indonesia and Malaysia during the EIFL conference, and having participated in workshops and in Indonesia, it was just some kind of, it was like I was moved from a cage, knowing how the libraries out there are moving on in solving problems innovatively. So that's exactly what inspired me. Thank you.
Thanks, Koi. Okay, next question. This comes from Claudia. She says, I know this is a problem in Romania. Did you have other librarians who discouraged you in your work, and how did you respond? Okay, let's start with Koi this time.
Thank you. Thank you. Will come up and discourage you because they've been there in the system for long, and probably I'm not saying that I'm bragging, but coming up with the new ideas with an open mind to learn, it makes you be a real person who can deliver to the community. So some discouragement may come along, but as a librarian, as a determined, passionate librarian, you have to soldier on and deliver what you can see so that they can also learn from you. So I think discouragement will come, but to be very specific, you have to be, you have to believe in yourself and believe in what you are doing and your profession as well, for them to see what you have in yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Koi. What about you, Letta?
One thing I've learned when I joined, when I became part of this EIFL program was this: when I was introduced to new things in terms of new ways on how to change the dilemma of libraries. I can assure you, here in Namibia, one thing, in most cases, people believe library is just a kind of like a profession where we pack books. Now, bringing new ideas or ways on how to solve problems within my library, it taught other librarians what other new ways can we do. So it's like they are more motivated to learn from me and to actually learn that, you know, there are sort of other ways that, you know, we can as well do what other ways we can do in public libraries. So it's one thing that I can say, it's a motivation, and it's a positive response from other librarians.
Thank you so much, Letta. Okay, next question. How did you convince your supervisors to try a new idea? Letta, do you want to take that one first?
Yeah. What I did when I came back from United States, I did a presentation and I took enough pictures as well as enough stories on what I have seen, what is actually happening in United States. So doing this presentation, it really just convinced most of them that, oh wow, so this is actually what libraries can do. And the one thing that they just motivated me was, so meaning when we are sending you out, that means you need to come back and actually just give back what you have learned. So it's a pleasure it was actually a pleasure for them to just really see what I went to go get and what I can implement within my library.
Oh, thanks, Letta. What about you, Koi? Oh, we can't. Turn on your mic.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, after all the interaction and learning from Indonesia and Malaysia, I came back and sat and tried to see what was happening in my library and what should be happening. You know, there's difference between seeing what was there and what was supposed to be done. So I did a draft proposal to my supervisor, told him why we should be doing, for example, the learning circles. So I did a proposal to see that libraries out there who are doing learning circles, libraries out there were like involving other partners coming in to like deliver to the community for life transformation. So what I did, I said, for example, the learning circles for example, we had a scenario where people were coming to the library asking for how to apply for passports. So that means there was a gap in knowledge, there was a knowledge gap in IT. So what I did a small proposal to my supervisor that this community lacks IT knowledge, and as a librarian, I am able to do such basic skills on IT. Then I did a budget, and the possibility of having this idea effective was coming up with a strong internet to them, so that we will build some kind of strong network and having on online course. Then from there, he after delivering my budget to him, he called me later and said, "Young man, are you really convinced that this thing will bring some impact and hence the relevance of the library?" I said, try me, and I'll show you what I can do for the community. So I dared my supervisor. I took risk to ask my supervisor, "Look, I am competent enough. I am employed to bring change to the library. That's why you picked me as a librarian." So that's how I convinced him, and I did the services. Many people were able to get some jobs through the learning circles and IT knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Koi. Okay, Koi and Letta, one last question. We've talked a lot about peer-to-peer learning in this session. How do you intend to educate your peers outside of your library? And what have you done, or what do you plan to do in the future? Letta, go ahead.
You mean outside my library?
Outside your library.
In terms of the program that I'm going to, or that I'm about to implement, it's more on organizing or coming up with innovative ways on, looking at the need of the specific group of people, and just to see or engaging them on how I can change their lives. Specifically, that can be, for example, like the English language, implementing it in young children's, and just making sure that I do it the simplest way based on the need of what a specific group is, or what a specific group need, for example. This differs from, if it's, for example, young people in terms of the youth, by coming up with presentations and looking at their need, what's the problem that they have, and what solutions can I bring to their lives. And it's more on what effective communication, being an open-minded when it comes to engaging them, and just making sure that I motivate them to be positive, to be welcoming, and to learn as well.
That's great, Letta, but you are also going to use YouTube, right? So isn't that another way you can reach other librarians?
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Susan. That is actually a new kind of platform that I want to make use of, which the reason why is because I feel like I will reach so many people at the same time. And it's not something that I will organize or, a session. This is something that will be open to every librarian to see what is it that I'm doing in my library, and to learn from what I'm actually doing. I can assure you that some librarians are really getting bored, but a YouTube channel is, we are just used to YouTube channels as, fashion, makeup, but it will be quite interesting to, to actually engage my librarians or users in general with whatever is happening at Marinta Library, and just showing that, yes, there's a change here.
Thank you so much, Letta. That's such a great idea, and we look forward to seeing your YouTube channel. Okay, Koi, what about you?
I have two angles of responding to the same question. That one I already did, and the second one that I'm planning to do. So the first thing that I did before I got promoted to head a library now is that I challenged my fellow librarians in my region that we've been working for long, but the relevance of the libraries in the community is not felt as a region. So what I did, I asked them we try something different. Rather than giving out books, it had become just like a general thing or a normal thing. So I asked them to do a learning circle. I asked them to do a learning circle, but before that, I asked my supervisors to sponsor me so that I would create a booming service of libraries in my region through online services. So I did three trainings that is, one for lower cost region and the other one for other regions, so that we become as region as professionals in our system. So we did that and it was very effective. Now libraries are coming up in different libraries to access for information, getting some courses online for free, and engaging also the community partners, like getting guys who coming, like in driving schools coming in libraries to train guys on road safety. So that's something that I did. But secondly, now in my new position as a librarian, I am planning a green movement platform where we are trying to do climate change kind of conserving the environment. Being a new library in a new setup, in a new environment, that is, I have engaged the youth to discuss about environmental challenges. Now we are drafting a proposal to come out with the strategies of how we can get to planting of trees in rivers and mountains, because the area is too dry. Now, this will help me convince my other librarians that whatever I have done now, it has related to these results. Why don't you do this so that we can grow as a library system in one family in Kenya National Library Services? As at now, we've done nurseries in my library just to create some kind of minding, that we are minding about environment, and we are trying to solve the problem through the library. As at now, more partners are coming in the library, courtesy of partnerships are bringing stakeholders on board. So through the same, my fellow librarians will see what I'm doing. Then from there, we'll be able to move as a group towards changing lives and communities in our region. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Koi. And I'm delighted to see that Alan has joined us. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm good. Did you hear the questions that were asked to the other speakers?
Unfortunately, I lost you at the time that we were supposed to join in, like activating our videos. So I couldn't get the questions. If there are any specific questions to my presentation, I'll be glad to take them now.
One of the questions we asked is, and I'll ask you one of them, and then some of them we can maybe respond later online. When you went to create your program, your Creatives for Change, did other librarians discourage you from that work, and how did you respond?
Definitely, there was.
Alan, we can't hear you. I think your mic is off. No, we still can't hear you. Sorry. No, no sound. Okay, sorry. I think, Alan, unfortunately, we're going to have to move on. But what I would like you to do is we're going to open this up to comments from people that are listening. And perhaps you can join us again at that point. We'd appreciate it. But in the meantime, let's just give a round of applause to these amazing three innovators and the work that they're doing in their libraries. Congratulations and thanks for joining us. You were just wonderful. Great. Our next section is, this is where we want to hear your stories, what you want to tell us. And I see that we have 3 people already lined up to speak. And I think the first person is Jennifer Diggins. So I'm going to click on her and ask her to join us to tell us her story. Jennifer, are you still there? I think you have to click on the blue button on your right top of your screen to join us. I'm not sure if Jennifer is still there, so I will try. Hazel is next. And again, click.
I think these people clicked to share their videos and audio at the beginning of the session, and probably they either have left or they are no longer
there.
So, yeah.
Okay, I'll try.
So maybe, is there anyone in the audience, in our quiet audience, who would like to speak? If yes, then press the blue button at the right corner, right top corner. Press ask to share video and audio. Well, if no one would like to talk, then Susan, I think you should continue.
I'm back on.
You're back on. Oh, Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. There is Jeff. Okay, Jeff, we're inviting you in.
Jeff, please try again. Ah, yeah.
It's coming.
Hey,
okay, hi.
Hello.
Okay, what I would like to share is in terms of peer-to-peer and its effectiveness. For me, the key in terms of how I've worked in the last 2 years since I was introduced to EIFL has been collaboration and partnerships. That has been the driving force behind any innovative idea that I've introduced to our library services. So we've had to collaborate with organizations, NGOs, and sometimes private companies. But one NGO that, well, I wouldn't say it's an NGO per se, but you know the Gute Institute. We've worked with them so successfully where they have the library and information sciences wing. So they have similar objectives like us as public libraries. So they've assisted us in training librarians when we introduce mobile literacy. So we don't have capacity to train librarians in specific new age skills, if I may call them. So for me, it has been such a productive collaboration with the Gute Institute. Right now, we are working on another librarians training project for fake news, but we will be doing it online. So it's going to be a new project that we are piloting just to instead of organizing small groups and training them on fake news, when fake news is actually happening on their mobile devices. So why not take it to their mobile devices? So that is something exciting. And also we've been starting a collaboration with the University of Johannesburg to learn about their own Fourth Industrial Revolution focused programs where they've introduced 3D projects where they actually produced masks for the COVID-19 from their unit. So we want to collaborate with them to introduce makerspace in some of our libraries. And so their librarians are now teaching us some things that we didn't know, and we are also helping them to not only work with students, but to also reach out to the communities, because the universities, they tend to be focused more on the student population, but the University of Johannesburg libraries, they would like to do more than that and extend their reach and also introducing innovations to other communities. So that's something else that I think speaks to the peer-to-peer collaboration. And there's so much that we're trying to also do working with private institutions. We are going to be reviving our collaboration with Google once our libraries reopen. And also, I know Leta mentioned the social media. We've also discovered how powerful social media is in reaching a wider audience, because we started a video series since April where we were asking librarians to create videos, and then these videos on I would suggest different topics, and then they post these videos. But what has happened is that I've gotten more librarians from other municipalities asking us, how did we come up with the program? What is it that we intend to do? How can they also do it? In fact, we've even had people from other units, like Department of Arts and Culture, saying, we also want to do something like this using social media. And one last big thing that I'm just going to share, because it's happening on the 24th. We are working with the Goethe Institute and on a hackathon. So we are the only libraries that are participating as one of the GLAM institutions, galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. So when they approached me, I just thought this is a perfect opportunity to extend our libraries to the wider audience, even though it's focused on Heritage Month, which is September in South Africa. But it's an ongoing project where these young people who don't know anything about libraries will get an opportunity to receive content from us, and then create platforms, whether it's apps or websites or whatever comes out of the hackathon. I don't know much about hackathons, but what comes out of it is something that should be of good use to us, enabling us to reach a wider audience. And I'm hoping that I will be able to even ask other libraries around our municipality what kind of cultural data that they can share with me, and we use the same platform. I don't know if that's going to work out, but I'm hoping it will. So those are some of the innovations that I think are exciting to come out of our library, especially this hackathon, because it's linked with coding, which is something we introduced as part of our mobile literacy since 2018. And to see us being part of a hackathon, it means we did the right thing by introducing coding, because now we will see young people, because I've also encouraged some of our young library users to enter the hackathon. So the users who also did the coding classes in our e-learning classroom. So that is something I'm really looking forward to seeing, and thanks to EIFL for introducing the idea of innovations in libraries. I think I'll always be appreciative of that.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. That's a way to talk about peer-to-peer learning. And what I really take away from your talk is that librarians who are doing innovative services and are doing innovative programs should be shouting about it. They should be letting others know about it, because that's how peer-to-peer learning happens. If you only do something innovative in your little library, but you don't share it, then nobody else can learn from what your experience. And I think you do such a great job of promoting what you're doing, and not only within the library field, but you say there's others that want to participate, not outside of the library. So that's great. And I think it's a great way to kind of summarize what we've been talking about today. Be innovative, but also talk about it. and make sure to reach out to your peers. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah. Okay,
right.
We're coming to the end of our session, and because we didn't want to leave you without one more question, there's one more Mentimeter question. So if you look at your Mentimeter, and the last question is, what would you do to inspire your colleague to innovate? And we've heard some good speeches on that today. And click on the Mentimeter screen. Are there others that have something they want to say? Take, I like that one. Take her or him to the bar. I'm on board with that. Share even more, encourage to walk with them, inspire by example. Yes, so important. Yes, that we are willing to change and we are willing to change ourselves is really critical in sharing. If you had $1 million, what would you change? Ooh, good question. That's great. Identify their passions and strengths and encourage them to start something based on those two. Ooh, that's a really good sort of mentoring strategy and coaching strategy. I like that too. Yeah. Share our success stories, so important. But somebody also mentioned share the challenges too, right? Are important. These are great. Wow. Yep, these are wonderful. Well, we thank you so much for participating in our session today. We are sad to leave you, but we're going to see you in networking and other sessions. So let's stay connected. I think you have our, Ramona, if you move to the next slide, we have our how to connect. And we will all wave goodbye to you and send you on to your next session or networking. And thank you so much for participating with us. It's been great fun.
By the way, check our booth at Expo, where you'll find our representation, a video to represent our program. That's on the left side at Expo, and you will find EIFL.
And you can ask us questions or write us email if you have any interest to learn more. Thank you very much.
See you at the conference. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.